Tablets on visualization. All right. So we started looking at I think that is the last aspect of Python. We have done two different types of analysis, such as the aggregation analysis and what again? Selection analysis, including data cleaning. So this is the very last part of the Python before we proceed. So we started talking about different libraries that are involved for us to be able to graphically represent our numerical values with pictures. And I told us then that one of the benefits of visualizing your insights or your findings is for you to easily identify trends, right? Trends, outliers, and patterns. And we can see it from the graph that you have already plotted. We are looking at the graph. The longest bar will tell you what? The most performing variable, which is part of the targets. Now, we introduce different library. I'm doing this because it has been a while, and for the young man that missed the entire class, even if you're going to consult you guys later. We talk about outside the usual library we used to work with, such as pandas and the NumPy. We started introducing matplotlib and the Seaborn. And all these that we have on the screen, I told us that the Python visualization was libraries. But I listed all of them, not because they all involve you as a data analyst. Because this Python that we are learning it just for data analysis, not for machine learning. So there are some of the libraries here that does not involve an analyst. For those that are going deeper than that to machine learning, they are the ones that the rest of them more useful to. But I know so far so good. We have already touched matplotlib, which is one of the foundation, because we said that the Seaborn still collaborates with what? The matplotlib before you can successfully plot your data. Now, I now move to this simple syntax where I was explaining how to import the library and also how to generate some data directly from Python. So what I achieved with this is for them to know that there is a syntax called what? plt.what? Plot. And there is also a function called plt.what? slabel. There is also a function called plt.what? ylabel and what? Title, which we later apply in our real data set. So after that, we move to this. This is where we also did another basic practical, which has nothing to do with our real data. So the intention is for us to still see how some of these functions that are within the library we have imported can be used. Then finally, let's see, then we now enter what? The main application here. So this is where we started relating the library with our data. So we started from here. So this is a cell. This is just like your cell here. Let me just go to, I've opened the notebook. So that's just like, I think, okay, I even have it here. So just like everything you have in the cell, that is the first line is what we import pandas as what? PD. The reason why we still require pandas, in fact, there is no form of analysis you do, whether for machine learning or Python, that will not involve pandas. Why? Because you must read what? Data into the notebook. And if that will happen, you will definitely need what? The dot read what? Underscore whatever data you want to load. That is what happened here. Now, these are the two lines that we added. So this is where we are importing what? The matplotlib dot what? pyplot as what? PLT, which means that anywhere you call PLT, you are automatically what? Referencing matplotlib. Now here we also imported what? The second library, which is what? Seaborn as what? SNS. Now, after that, we now look at this. So this is where we are plotting a real what? Graph. So I will just run through this again. So while I'm going through this, I want to know whether once I get to the points where you stop, let me know. Now, here we created a bar after we have imported what? The above library. And then we specify the type of bar the graph we are creating, which is what? Bar plots. So the bar plot is a function. How do I know that it's a function? Can anybody tell us why it is a function? We are looking at the code. How would you know that something is a function? Something is an attribute. I've explained before. Not just that. Good. Because of what? The parenthesis what? Brackets. Now, in this look, I told us before that every function we always ask for what? Inputs, right? And the input are the data in this case you are to give to the function. So part of the input we are to give to this function called bar plots, they are what? We are to specify the values that will be represented in the graph on the S what? Axis, and the value that will be represented with the graph on the what? The Y axis. So, sir, what we are having here is, I think we are working with the heads data set, right? Where we have a column called what? Hospital. And we have another column called what? Billing amount. So if it were to be that salary payroll, where we have department, where we have state, so I can say, okay, I am plotting basic salary. So here will now be what? Basic salary against what? Maybe departments. Now here is an attribute, it's not a function. Once it does not have another bracket, it's an attribute. And I told you before that what? An attribute what? Describe a function. Just like additional description to that function. Provide more information about the function you are using. So what is this attribute providing? Ma, you tell us. Because I want you to learn one or two things from here before consulting you guys. The name of what? The data set where you have what? These two headers you have specified here, right? So in this case, as at the time I was doing this, my data set name is what? Data 2. So whatever name you must have given to your data set, you do what? You replace it with what? This, but this is constant. Now here, this is another attribute, which does what? Which determine what? The combination of colors, just like our own now you are saying. So this is just like a bucket of color. So this is not you saying red, blue. So this bucket, once you call it, there are a set of colors that are there. Those are the colors that will be assigned to the bars in your graph. And I told them that what? There are other ones. Good, I have the slide here. Yes, if you don't want to use, is it the place? It's not here, right?
I thought it's here where I know there's a slide. There is a slide where I said order. Is it this one? This one. Okay, good. So these are predefined what? Palettes. So in case that place where you were seeing viridies, you can use what? Muted, bright, pastel, dark, and the rest of them. And that will be giving what? Different color. I think there was another place where I showed us how to define this color manually. I don't know whether it's your class. Let's continue. So now, so here, this is where we're working with. I think we jump now. This was the code that we're explaining, right? So I've explained this now. Now here, I've used comment to also explain that what? Add title and what? Labels. Labels are like descriptional tests. Tests you use to tell whoever is going to consume the graph that on this axis, so this is the value what? Represented. On this other axis, so these are the value what? Represented. And if you look at the graph here, I think this was the outcome. So let me be using this. This was the result of that graph code that I was just talking about now. So you can see this is the one that is showing what? The label for what? For y-axis, right? Why this is the label for what? So which means that what? The y-axis represents what? The billing amount, right? And the s-axis represents what? The what? The hospital. Now, coming back here, there is another one here. So you understand the title now. This is where you determine the size of those descriptions. Then here, the size also. Here, the size. Now, who can tell us what I said about this? This rotation equals to 30. If I go to the graph now, what part of this graph is regulated? The placement of this item, right? So this is what? Angle 30. So if I want them to be straight like this, to stand straight like the bars, what will I do to the? I think let's go to the what's it called? To the framework, right? So let's look at where we have it here. So this is a horizontal bar, and I told us what to do to have this placement. It's just to switch the axis, right? So if I change this axis now to here, now if I remove start from here and put it for Y, and remove department to what? X, automatically I will have what? A horizontal what? Bar. So I use angle 90. You can see the angle 90 there. That is why they are standing. You can see now angle 90. That's why they are straight. So I think I have seen where we stop. I think that is where we stop. So we have not done pie charts. We stop at what? Bar chart, right? Good. So let me see where that is. Good. So write pie chart plotting. Pie chart plotting. Because as far data analysis is concerned, the most commonly used task for interpreting our insights will be what? Line charts, pie charts, and what? Pie charts. We have other ones like scatter plots and the box plots. Those ones are for data science. But as a data analyst, you should know how to represent your insights where it is needed with bar charts and what? Pie charts. So they have stronger communication. So I believe you know what pie chart is, right? Pie chart is where you are analyzing the percentage, right? The percentage, and it's going to give us a kind of a cycle and then divide it into what? Sectors. So if we want to plot a pie chart, we have to also import what? The library. We need to also import the library. So if you are writing, so that we can go to just write and then go to your notebook, just like I'm going to do now, and then implement. So I'm just my own now, just copy what? This. In fact, I have them already. So this is an assumption of maybe it's a new notebook. If you want to continue with the previous one, you don't need to import again. Good. So let me just go to the next slide. So the next slide is what? So the pie chart we're plotting, we load what? Our data set. Assuming your Your CSV file is what? Named what? Hospital underscore. So what are we going to do now? So we don't need this again because this is when I was working with if you are creating data sets here. So now what we are going to simply do is this. Look up.